Hi, I'm Gabby and I'm going to show you how to print graphics, illustrations, or photos onto a beanie like this. I use the dye sublimation method, which a lot of print shops use, but you can do it at home pretty easily. I do it here in my apartment. It can be cost effective too if you're on a budget like I am, and you can make so many things like hats, jerseys, journals, puzzles, t-shirts, socks, and like a million other things. And it's a really fun way to upcycle your clothes or just make fun gifts for people. I use it a lot for my brand, but I'm going to show you everything that you need. And of course, multiple brands exist for each of these products. I think I've mastered my process and found the things that work the best, that are the highest quality, and that last the longest. So I'm going to show you everything you need. I also designed these guides with everything you need and a step-by-step on how to do this. I mostly just designed them to guide me through this video so I could be as clear and concise as possible. But if you want them, they are down below. The first thing you'll need is your sublimation printer. Now there's two ways to go about this. One, you can buy a sublimation printer that already has everything you need. These ones are a bit more pricey, but if you are looking to go the easiest route, I would just buy a sublimation printer. I'll put some on the screen and link them. But what I did was I built my own sublimation printer, and it's not as intense as it sounds. You basically just need a printer where you can fill your own ink. So I chose the Epson ET2800, which is an EcoTank printer, which basically means you can just fill up your own ink. Instead of using the ink that the printer comes with, you're gonna use sublimation ink, and then you just use sublimation paper. So it's basically like a regular printer, but with sublimation ink, and you use sublimation paper. This was the more cost-effective route, which is why I went that route. The printer was just under $200. The ink is not too expensive and the paper is not too expensive either. It's honestly been working really well for me and I've had no issues with it at all. The next thing you'll need, like I mentioned, is sublimation ink. I use this one. It's called Hippo. I get it on Amazon. I don't know if there's so much of a difference with different brands of sublimation ink. I've only ever used this one and it's been great. The next thing you'll need is sublimation paper. Now this one I have noticed a difference and I only trust this brand. It's called A-Sub and I usually get the 8.5 by 11 size, which is just a normal printer paper size. I also get this on Amazon, and that's the basic setup that you need for the printer itself. The next thing you'll need is a heat press. You can choose pretty much any heat press as long as it goes up to 400 degrees and it has enough surface area for the projects that you want to do. I personally got a mid-range one. I believe it was a little bit above $200 and it's 15 by 15 and it's an automatic press. So all I have to do is press a button and it'll work its magic. Others are manual, so you have to clamp it down, but any heat press will do. The criteria to look out for is if it gets up to 400 degrees, the size, so whatever size projects you want to work with, whether it's small projects or big projects, I would just recommend a 15 by 15, which is what I have. And your price range. If you're just beginning, maybe you don't want to spend $500 on a heat press, you can spend maybe $200 or $100 or under $100. But yes, you need a heat press. Last thing you absolutely need is your garment or something to sublimate on. In this case, we're using a beanie. So I usually get my beanies from 2040 USA in downtown LA, but I also use ones from Amazon that are really, really similar. I'll link them below, and each of them are under $10. They just have to be 100% polyester and white or light fabric. There's some optional supplies that you don't have to get, but I would recommend if you have a little bit of extra wiggle room, and that is butcher paper, because you want to protect your mat and your press, and some heat tape so you can tape down the design so they don't move. The first thing you want to do is heat up your heat press. I turned mine at 375 for about 40 to 45 seconds.
Depending on the garment you get, you might have to play around with these settings, but I find that 375 for 40 to 45 seconds works best for me. If you go too hot, you might melt the garment, and if you don't go hot enough, then it might not turn out very vibrant. So play around with these, but start at 375 for 40 seconds. Setting up your printer is really easy too. You're just going to want to plug it in and then fill up the tanks with your sublimation ink and put in your sublimation paper. It's just like a regular printer but with special ink and special paper. Then you're going to want to measure your beanie. My beanie is 8 inches by 8 inches. I like a shorter beanie, which is why I chose this blank, but measure the beanie that you are using. Step 3 is to design your graphic. You can use any design program like Canva, Procreate. I use Illustrator. You're just going to want to make your canvas 8.5 by 11, which is the size of the printer paper, and then make your graphic at least 8.25 by 8.25. So add about a 1/4 inch to your design just for wiggle room. The beanies stretch out a little bit in my experience, so I like to make sure that the print covers all sides of the beanie, so I give it a little bit of a bleed. Then you're going to want to send your design to the printer, and you really want to pay attention to the print settings here. Make sure you reverse your image and make sure you choose like a photo mat paper, and then just set it to the highest quality that your printer offers. This should take probably about a minute or 2 minutes to print, and when it's done, you're gonna go to your heat press, place a piece of parchment paper down or printer paper, and then your beanie, and then your print face down, ink touching the garment, and then another piece of parchment paper to protect your heat plate so that ink doesn't get on it and then transfer to your other designs, and then you just press it. Once it's done, you peel your paper, and then you should have your graphic beanie.
So that's it. That's how you print your own beanies. I hope this inspires you to create something, even if you don't consider yourself an artist or someone creative. You can literally just print a photo of someone you love onto something, gift it to them during Christmas. But it really is so therapeutic to exercise your creativity, use your hands and make something fun. I don't know, let me know if you try it and enjoy your graphic beanies